It may seem like fun and gags when they spread laughter and cheer, but women comics have to overcome hurdles to try open doors for others and themselves to walk effortlessly through. On the special Women's Day broadcast, we speak to at least two of these dynamic leaders in the world of comedy who will share with us some of the issues that they face in their craft. What has been the impact, for instance, of the pandemic on the work that they do? Let's hear it from them. We bring in now South African women in comedy, Celeste Ntuli and Nina Hastie, both of them joining us via our video link and already having us in stitches before going on air. Celeste, let me begin with you. It's great to have you on the program. You have been a pioneer in many respects in the work that you do. In fact, the first woman to have a DVD special, I believe, called Seriously Celeste. Those kind of accolades, do those mean anything to you on a day like this? Or do you find that the conversations are just recycled every year?
Well, it does, although the DVDs are no longer there. But it does. It is important. Every move from anything that woman has never done before, ever, it is a move that is in progress, because we are literally having in 2021 the things like first woman to do this, first woman to do that. So clearly, then you know that anything is progress. So what I'll say now is that in a sense, this new generation is questioning everything, sexuality and everything, and making sure everyone is represented. The most weirdest thing is that when it comes to women, and more especially black women, things are still on some, people are still on, oh wait, should we pay them enough? I mean, we shouldn't be discussing this right now. Yeah. if we're thinking everything that we're doing has to be with representing everyone and making sure that everyone is getting all the equal opportunities and being paid as such, because I think that's what is the problem. It's not about putting on someone. Comedy is a very individual sport, but there are some comedians who are male who are okay, but they're not the women who are starting up. There's always a criticism, like, is this joke enough? Is this joke female enough? When I was starting comedy, everyone was like, well, don't speak too much about female stuff. People don't like that. And I'm like, but I'm female. What else am I going to talk about? But people learn, though. So I'm thinking every day, every year, it is a progress, because we're coming from nothing.
Yeah. Nina, you've got your Amazaza on now. Hopefully you can see a bit better from your vantage point. Your take on a day like this, considering the great work you've done. I mean, you've also been part of a few great TV dramas. I think Inconceivable is one of them. When you look back, I mean, as a woman, given your accolades, a day like this, what comes up?
The fact that we have to make a day of it is it's sad. It should be this day every day. It should be 365 normalcy. I did an event the other day, and they were talking about generational equality for women. And look, I can't speak for black women because, I still have that extra advantage of being a white person. So, there's so many levels and layers that we need to unravel, that we need to create justice for, not just equality. Cool. So what, equal opportunity, everybody's got the same 24 hours in the day. No, women do not have the same 24 hours in the day. How much makeup did we have to put on this morning? Then the earrings, and then I have to put I have to put underwear on. I have to wipe the glasses, do my hair. A male comedian's just like, how's it? And they're here, there's just so much more effort, so much more consideration. If I wear this, what are they going to think? If I say this, what are they going to think? Am I winning the women in the room first in order for the men to feel that they have the permission to laugh? There's like so many social dynamics. However, I must say the social dynamics have changed within the last 15 years. Celeste and I both been in this game for about 15 years. And when I started, I was told by the male comedians, don't dress up, don't look sexy, don't threaten the audience members. You would see things like married female comedians would do better because they weren't a threat to the audience. And single comedians, for some reason, when you're a single woman, like if you look at the concept of Rihanna and the concept of Beyonce, Beyonce is a safe bet. She's married. She's out there. Now you come to Rihanna. She's a single sexy woman. She's a threat to my relationship. Honey, you are sitting in Santon. Your husband is not going to stand a chance with Rihanna. Relax. Be on my side. So if we can just not be in competition with one another, and the only way that we eliminate the concept of competition is if we make more than one space. It's like the Olympics. Now we are in the Olympics. Who's got gold? Who's got bronze? Who's got silver? No, we're all in the race. There needs to be 25 of us in the race so that we can all be having fun instead of just competing. So yes and no. Yeah. Some things have changed, but now there's the Olympics. So
Khanyisa Bunu has just joined us. I presume she'll get the bronze of these Olympics because, number one, she's late. Khanyisa, hi. We're just ventilating what a day like this means to women in comedy. Let me get your initial reflections on that.
It means nothing actually. For us, every day is Women's Day. We need to fight to be recognized as women. So like a day like this is like a day like yesterday. We just women, we do comedy, we are funny actually. And people think that if they're a woman, you need to do this to be funny. No, people should forget about us being female comedians. We are comedians, guys, before we are female. And I've never heard people talking about male comedians. No, because those people are comedians. Just like us, we are female comedians. And we do the job actually. You see?
Yeah, yeah. Celeste, you are nodding vigorously to what both Nina and Khanyisa has been saying. I mean, as far as you're concerned, do conversations like this become even counterproductive? Because Khanyisa raises a good point. We never have really moments where we ask some of your male counterparts what it feels like to be in this game as men specifically. Or do you find that there are things to address still, regardless of perhaps what is problematic around this conversation?
Yeah, there are certain things to address, but I live by, because I started, obviously, comedy has always been male-dominated. So the only thing for me was like, I need to make sure when I'm on stage, you don't doubt me. So that has happened, and I'm good at it. So I think there is less on my side. There is less. I've never encountered when some people try to belittle what I'm doing because of the gender. And also, really, comedy is one of those things. It's like being a lawyer or anything else. There's nothing female or male about it. You are learning. You are your own creator of your own set. It's such a solo individual sport. Your voice is yours. I don't understand how, as a society, we manage to squeeze in these gender issues in spaces where really, at this point, we are dealing with the mind. If you're a comedian, the most things that you need is your mind. So if you're an intelligent woman, the only thing is that mostly women, we are not looked as if you have a humorous woman or a woman with a sense of humor. Most men feel like, then what am I going to say to her? Well, laugh. I can do the comedy part of this relationship. It's okay, you know. Yeah. But the thing is, and most women as well, like Nina said when I was nodding a lot about married women, we still have that thing in a society where if you are not married, it's not good enough. Even if you've done good enough, even if you've broken all the barriers, you've made history. Nina Simone was not good enough to some people, and we might talk about her now, but she was not good enough. Because she was not married, she was not this and the other. And then also sometimes people put that there. And then like, I'm not saying those who are married are getting it because they are married. I'm saying the treatment is not the same. When they look at you as a single girl, it's like, yeah, that's why you are still here. And your personal life is being drawn to what you say on stage. So definitely I do agree. But fortunately for me, one thing I would say to all comedians or people that want to be a female comedians, make sure you go for the kill. In comedy, it's either you kill or you die. I make sure I don't die every day, period, because I don't want you to talk about anything else. And then there are so many males who are a mess out there, but everyone is like, you tried. They're like, you didn't try anything, you died. But if it was a girl, if it was a woman, they'll be like, yeah, that's why women comedians. That's the problem. Now, because I'm a killer, I don't care. They won't have anything to say. So if we, because there are so many also other great comedians, not that I'm saying I'm the only one who kills on stage, but I've made it a point that I won't give you even 1% of something to talk about.
There you have it. The platform being given to you is still an incredibly important one. And Nina, you've done that to raise several issues, in fact. We'll have that leg of our discussion with our three guests when we come back. Do stay with us. Welcome back. You're still live on this Women's Day edition of the AM Report. I'm Ayanda Nyathi. It's great to be in your company, and we are in the company of greats. South African women in comedy, Celeste Ntuli, Nina Hastie, and Khanyisa Bunu are in conversation with us. And before that quick breather, Nina, I had teased out how you can still use your platform to raise actually pretty important stuff in a way perhaps that's still palatable. You had done a lot of work with mental health, recovering from trauma and sexual abuse, etc., etc. How do you manage to get that balance right? Comedy typically trivializes stuff, but this is no trivial matter.
You know, that's an somebody tweeted, "Oh, you're a comedian. You must what business have you got talking about woke stuff?" The woke stuff, because I tweeted I've got Sizwe Mpofu Welsh's new book, The New Apartheid. Remember, Celeste, we were talking about this. Have you read this?
Yes.
This one? Ayabonga Tawe. Listen, we have opinions. That's the whole reason we're comedians. We look at the status quo. We're like, oh, I don't like this. Let me offer you a different perspective on something, right? So that requires thinking. It requires critical thinking. It requires taking things into consideration. It's not a trivial matter. It's a perspective thing. We sometimes ridicule something that needs to change. But I used to do a lot of political stuff, right? And then, you know, social dynamics change. We live in a post-apartheid world. I'm a white woman. Like, can I leave, you know, Black Lives Matter, I can be an ally, but I don't need to champion the movement, right? So there's certain things that I've stepped off from because I don't want to, you know, come across as like this white savior or whatever. But I just do need to be in a position where I offer space to those ideas. However, men have the privilege of being on stage and not having to address any socio-political issues. They can just come on stage and talk about their sex lives. You know, they can just talk about their emotions or whatever. They don't have to be representative of everything. That's the privilege of the space. They don't have to be the champion and represent all the positions of all the men in the world and give them rights and things like that, which is where we were in the beginning of the thing, and which is why, you know, a lot of Celeste stuff is very powerful. A lot of my early stuff was very much in that vein. But and I do that in a separate world because mental health is important, because I've spent all my adult life trying to manage my depression, my anxiety, my trauma, all of those things. But I'm not the only one. Every woman I know is a victim of sexual assault. It suffers from mental health. Here I am. I've come from a privileged white background, and I've got mental health issues. Imagine the onslaught of being black in South Africa, where absolutely every element of this country is designed to attack your self-worth and dignity. So if I can, with whatever means I have, offer support to people that haven't even been able to, on the hierarchy of needs, address their mental health, please, God, let me do that.
Sure. Point taken. So, Khanyisa, with that in mind, I guess, how do you prepare for any kind of performance? I mean, Nina has just painted a picture of the incredible responsibility that comes with doing what you do, more so when you consider your own position in society.
Yeah, I would say, you know, just to agree with what Nina was saying, we as women, like comedians in general, we have a strong message that we have to deliver to people, and we don't just get on stage, like wake up and get on stage. We have to research what is going on around now. Like now we have this problem of corona, we have this problem of vaccination. These are things that we need to talk about. We try to be as dynamic as possible. So what I'm trying to say is that we as female comedians, we face challenges. Like we face serious challenges because people think that there's things that you can't talk about. Like, you can see now when you start. I remember one time I was talking to a male comedian, and I was just performing like.
Khanyisa uphelela amadata. It doesn't look like her connection is still with us. We'll try get back to you.
And he said, yeah, right. I see you're different. You know, it's like, hello?
There you go. No, it looks like your connection is back again. Go ahead. Or not. All right, let me throw the question to you, Celeste. You'll write the minutes and I guess brief Khanyisa about the aspect of our conversation that she might have missed. But I mean, again, the responsibility you have is quite an important one. But I also do wonder how you deal with things like awkward moments. We almost had one just now with Khanyisa's line freezing. Yeah. Typically, we are tempted to just laugh, but you on stage, how would you circumvent something like that?
I mean, now, we have, we've got skills for it. Someone might be heckling you, this and the other might disturb you. As a comedian, the normal reflex, like the response that is just instinct for you is to make this situation funny, because you are in control. Otherwise, your whole stage is awkward now. Therefore, the whole thing is to acknowledge the awkwardness and pull something out of it, the humor in what is going on right now, because the whole thing is that when you don't acknowledge the awkwardness of whatever is happening at the time, then everyone else is with that moment. Even if you try to be passed over it, everyone is still thinking, did she just fall right now? You know what I mean? Right. So if you fall or if you drop a mic or someone is helping you, I think not even I think, most comedians, that's what you do. Like, you make sure that you use that moment, you use that opportunity to make it a joke, to make it a funny opportunity, you know, because you're on stage now. And the whole point is to just bring humor. So, I mean, what better way to do a humor about something that has just happened now? So the improv is much more important as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why, as comedians, we are very much like, if I'm going to perform in a place, I would like to be there earlier, a few hours or whatever, or the day before, so I could just watch people and look around. And also it helps in reading the room, because all shows are not the same. The audience make up the room. So when you look at the room and say, okay, these people are good for this and the other, then you know, well, when you've done it for so long, you have a better understanding of how to address different people in different spaces of themselves, basically.
Nina, Celeste touches on reading the room. There have been many instances where some have felt that a joke has gone a little too far. How do you draw the line between perhaps a joke that might not land well and pushing the envelope in a way that works?
I hear your question. I'm going to steer it in a different direction because I want to further... Hang on a second. Okay, so there's been a study, right? There's been a study that showed people studied the brain of comedians, amateur comedians, and civilians, as we call you. And it showed the two regions of the brain that were activated when the participants came up with jokes: the medial prefrontal cortex and the temporal association regions. The regions were activated were differently depending on the person's level of expertise. Okay, so what we found is the more experienced someone is at doing comedy, the more activation we saw in the temporal lobe, right? So in contrast, amateur comedians and non-comedians rely on their prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for executive functions like planning complex cognitive behavior, and the professional improv comedians let their free associations give them solutions. So basically, we no longer have fear as like grown comedians. We're not concentrating on trying to make the jokes. We now have the freedom of being creative because we're not doing the other stuff. Like, what am I doing? What does this person think of me? What is happening? How do I construct a joke? What did I say here? We're already there. We're already there. So when those kinds of things happen, we can free associate and say, oh, okay, cool. So you're behaving in this way. Or maybe that's because you work in a call center and you hate your job. Or whatever. Like, that's what we can do to maintain the room. So the more experience you have, the better your neuropaths are at dealing with the process of comedy. It's really fascinating.
Sure. Hectic intellectual
stuff. That's why we have
Nina
on the thing.
Yeah, like
put some intellect on it. I was coming with some emotional, let me give it to you scientifically.
But the bottom line is the fact that the work that you do provides the kind of relief I think we also needed in the studio. How are you guys keeping yourself, I guess, together in a world where it just feels like everything is falling apart? Celeste?
For me, I won't lie. I took the time off because luckily I didn't feel the last year's lockdown and pandemic because I was working. So when the TV work stopped, I had a chance to now relax and now I'm back at being full-on comedian. Yay! The joys of making sure that you run in the morning, you do these things, I've taken that as so much luxury for me. Although financially it's strenuous to know that you can't perform, and of course, as a performer, we miss performing. But luckily for us, now it's open, it's Women's Month, thank God. I've got club gigs on Friday, I'm going to do Imbizo on the 26th, and this month is my birthday. So it's my birthday month. My birthday's on the 25th. And on the 26th, I'll be in Tembisa celebrating with the women of Imbizo. I don't know, the Imbizo women that are coming together in business. It's the most beautiful time for it to be open and share that with women. It's going to be amazing. So people must come to Tembisa. I'm just plugging in there.
I'm coming.
Yeah, you must come. It's a Mbogodo thing. It's a women's conglomerate with women who are workers. And so yeah, those kind of celebrations, mostly for us female comedians, when it comes to Women's Month, this is when I enjoy it the most. Not because I'm being booked the most, but I'm exposed to so many women that do different things, that are also pushing boundaries in their own sectors. Like the stuff that I'm doing on the 26th, it will be different women in business, people that know that women that own Squat Tembisa and Shisanyama, Busy Corner, and the other women is having wines and stuff like that. So it's great women that are doing great things in the township that I wouldn't have known about if they didn't say to me, Celeste, we need you to come and celebrate with us this situation.
Trust Celeste to go ahead and plug all her gigs in a very strategic way. I have to give you an opportunity to do the same thing. Nina, you can do much of the same, but perhaps as you do that, there are many young women who are watching and perhaps still feeling a bit apprehensive about doing what you do because it exposes you to so much. A quick message to them as well as you plug yourself.
Thank you. I have to just do a plug. Listen, ladies, I've started a podcast that's going to be available on YouTube. Please go to my YouTube and subscribe. It drops next week. It's called Otherwise You Well, and it's conversations with amazing people. Nice. I have a conversation with Lesego Tlabi about the time that she came on to Training SA and I grilled her and patronized her. I basically white-splained satire to her, an entire Oxford student. Imagine how embarrassing. Anyway, anyway, now she's like this phenomenon. But we spoke about, the place in society. I've got Lesego Tlabi, I've got Sizwe Mpofu Welsh, I've got Kate Goliath. Next season I'm going to have Celeste Ntuli. But I'm going to drop the first episode is with a friend of mine called Hani Makwa. And she is a sangoma, and she is a strategist in business as well. And I'm telling you, what's amazing is when we access mental health stuff from a South African cultural perspective. It's very, very interesting, super relatable, and super helpful for everything that you're going through. It's called Otherwise You Well, and you can find it on my YouTube channel. Please go subscribe to YouTube, Nina Hastie, YouTube.com/Nina Hastie, end of story. And I've got an Instagram page called And Otherwise You Well. That's how the messages for women are on those spaces, and hopefully you can find some peace and love and inspiration.
Nice. All those good things. Thank you very much for lifting our spirits. I hope you guys have your own outlets that do the same for you. Really do appreciate your time on the AM Report today. Nina Hastie and Celeste Ntuli. Khanyisa Bunu, clearly itata ipelile for real, but in her absence, we appreciate the time as well. Thanks very much indeed.